Yesterday in Oxford, I talked about the new way of seeking among human beings. There was seeking in ancient times also, but not to this extent. Thousands and thousands of people all over the world are seeking. They are not satisfied with what they are. They have a feeling that there is something beyond they have to seek. There is some greater meaning to their being. They are not here only to earn, to live, and die. This comes out of some unknown self esteem which dawns upon us, and we start thinking, what are we doing here? Why are we here? All such questions haunt us, and we take to see. And as soon as this kind of news is out that people are seeking, markets get filled with people who are willing to give you some sort of a solution for your seeking. Everything else can be solved through marketing, maybe, but not your evolution. For example, you have evolved from amoebic stage to this stage without going to any shop, without paying for anything. It is such a spontaneous thing. Though we have taken ourselves absolutely granted, as if human life is made by us, still, if we think about it, we find that there is some force which resides within every being that helps to give this evolution to us. By what thinking can we become something higher? Because by not thinking that we became human beings from chimpanzees, we spontaneously became. But very difficult to accept this concept at a human stage that you become spontaneously what you are. Because evolution is a living force. It is not a mechanical force. It is a living force. And everything that is living acts spontaneously. For example, sprouting of a seed. We cannot even sprout a single seed. Transformation of a flower into a fruit. The growth of the trees. Birth of a child. All these things happen to us absolutely spontaneous. First of all, we have to tell our mind that by the mind's effort, you achieve living process, hence you cannot achieve your realization. Now it is very difficult, in the West especially, where people are thinkers and their mind is too much, going very fast sometimes, to understand this little point. And if possible, people might try even to sprout a seed by thinking, by projecting their mind into the seed. But you know for definite that we cannot do it. Moreover, no effort can bring forth human effort. There must be some effort, but not human effort. So it is absolutely effortless. You do not have to put on any effort to bring forth the happening of this self-realization. So we come to the point, what is self-realization? What is self and what is the matter? What is self-realization and what is self? When I tell you about it, you do not have to deny me, but keep a very open mind like a scientist does. It can be all proved, whatever I am saying. If it is proved, then you have to accept this hypothesis. But for that, you have to keep your mind absolutely open. There is a force beyond us which does all these things, which brings forth the fruits that we see, which allows the trees to grow, which has made us human beings from amoebic stage. Self is within our heart. It is said so, and I say the same thing. It is the reflection of God Almighty. Many people in modern times don't like the word God, but He exists whether you like it or not. He does exist. Now the time has come for us to prove the existence of God. Because people talked of God without any proof. They made money in the name of God. They have used His name for such purposes that people are now angry with God. But one can use a good thing for their own purpose if they are not punishable by law. On God everybody has spoken, even Napoleon, Hitler, everyone had a right to speak about God and His powers. Without knowing anything about God, they have taken everything into their hands and have spoken about it. What can you do about it? There is no law that forbids you that you cannot speak about God. This spirit in our heart is the one which is the witness of our being. It is the witness that sees what's happening. In Gita, it is called as Kshetragya, the one who knows the field, which knows the field. This knower of the field resides in our heart and watches us. He knows each and everything about us and He guides us. But we are not in contact with Him. We do not know Him. That means He is not acting through our central nervous system. For example, we know our eyes, we know our nose, we know our ears, because we can feel them. We can see the use of all these organs, but we cannot feel that which is in our heart. We see them. That is our absolute. That is the one we have to know. That is the source of joy. We may say that we are very happy to have this, we are unhappy to do this. But this joy that we have has no double thing. It's just sheer joy. It is not happiness and unhappiness. This spirit exists in our heart. When you all are seeking, actually you are seeking that spirit. Through that spirit, you know the whole, the primordial being, the macrocosm, of which you are just a part. Like the whole body has cells, you are cells in that body. You have to know because you are created for that. As we have created this instrument, it has to be plugged, otherwise it has no meaning. In the same way, unless and until you are plugged to that hole, you have no meaning at all. Whatever you are doing with this instrument without plugging is all a waste. On the contrary, you are spoiling this instrument by using it without plugging. In the same way, you are to be connected to the mains. Unless and until you are connected to the mains, your seeking will go on and on and on. It will never end. So I have come here. Please come. No, they have no place. Just give them some chairs. Be comfortable. In Sahaja Yoga, comfort is the first thing you have to see. Just comfort. It's all right. We have been going on with our seeking. And in our seeking, we started with so many things. People, as you know, have been seeking joy in material possessions. Now in affluent countries, they are fed up. Then they are seeking joy in power. That is also over. So many people have heard they say stupid politics. Now they are seeking afterwards with that in some sort of a collective working. That also they get fed up. The seeking is within and not without is the point. You have to know yourself within and not without. Because whatever is known without is relative. It is not absolute. Unless and until you know yourself, everything that you do is a relative thing. Today I was discussing this with someone who was very much sort of impressed by communism. I have been to Russia only very recently. And I told him that whether you take to communism or democracy, both are relative things. They have not been able to achieve any proper results by which people are really joyous. The trouble is, all these things we have discovered through our rationality, which is limited. We are to be triggered into the space of thoughtless awareness, into collective consciousness. Unless and until we are on that level, we cannot understand what is guiding us. What is the force that has created this universe, which is guiding every atom and every molecule, which is guiding our heart and looking after our digestion, and our whole constitution is managed by that force, because we are not yet connected. But the time has come, and that's why the seeking. At the time of Christ, only 2000 years back, not much, you could hardly get 12 fishermen. Can you imagine the plight of talking to fishermen about Kundalini? How could you talk to them about these things? But today, there are real seekers born. It's described in the ancient books of Nala Purana very clearly that once Nala was very much tortured by Kali. Kali is the ruler of modern times, because he is the one who creates confusion. That's why in the modern times we are in confusion. So this Nala was so angry with Kali because he had made his wife separated from Nala. So he caught hold of Kali and he said, "What do you mean by destroying my life like this? I'm going to destroy you completely." And then Kali got a fright of his life and he said, "Please forgive me. First you listen to me and my importance, my Mahatmya. I'll tell you what I'm living for. And after that, if you want to kill me, I'll accept." He said, "My importance is that when I will rule on this earth, Kali Yuga will come." This is, of course, the end of Kali Yuga has come now. That time, people will be confused. There will be problems. Societies will be destroyed. There will be mental problems. People will be very upset. Agreed. All this would be there. But in those days only, the great saints who are seeking me, in the hills and dales, in the forest, will be born as ordinary householders and ordinary city dwellers. And they will seek and they will achieve their self-realization. He said, "Is it so?" He said, "It's a promise." That is happening today. Thousands and thousands of people are city dwellers are seeking God. They are not in the forest. They are living into day to day mundane life, but they are seeking and they are not satisfied. They are not happy with what they are living. These seekers have to be given their realization. And they have to achieve that realization. This is their due. I'm just like a bank manager cashing your checks. Nothing more than that. Only thing I know how to cash it. This is your own property. It's your own earnings. It's your own sincerity with which you have done this. And you have to have it. You have to get it. It's your own right to get it. You are born for this. Thousands will be realized later on by you. You will give them realization, no doubt. You are the foundations of that. But in the beginning, we have to have people who have been of that caliber. In the beginning, we cannot worry about people who are still halfway this and halfway that. Superficial people who go to the pub and come here for the program on the way because it is free. That kind of people may not get realization. But people of caliber, of sincerity, have to get their realization. It is their due. It is their right. And how can you charge for that? I mean, just think how absurd it is. I just cannot understand. How do you explain charging for a thing like that? It is love. Can you enjoy your love if you have to sell it? What's the price? Price of love is loving. Is giving. Nirvaj, without any return. It just flows, it emits. And it should happen to you because it is your due. Today now, I am going to tell you how it is placed within us, how beautifully the divine has planned within us, among all of us who are actual seekers and saints. This is the sign of saintliness. That we believe that material things are not going to give us joy. That belief that we have to find something of the beyond. That we cannot be happy without finding that is the sign that we are saints. Now see how you are beautifully made. There are now 7 centers within us. One of them, the lowest, lies below the spinal cord. The rest of them, 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They lie within our spinal cord and our brain. These centers are subtle centers inside the spinal cord. And they manifest outside the gross plexuses, which are used for physical manifestation. These subtle ones are giving energy to that part, that area of the body and the mind. These are actually the milestones of our evolution. Especially the one which is the green one. Here you see is the third center as called as a Nabhi chakra, means the navel center. Is the one that is responsible for our seeking. We start seeking through our Nabhi chakra. First, if you see an amoeba, it seeks food. We seek the food first. That is the first priority, and that seeking starts from there. Then this seeking starts transforming as we grow into our evolution till we reach a certain stage where we start seeking spirit, seeking God. And that stage, if it has arrived, the Kundalini, which is the residual force there, which is the one who is your mother, who is waiting for this kind of an occasion where somebody who knows her can raise her, can awaken her. She knows. An invitation is sent to her through your hands. That's why he was saying, if you sit like this, it will be better, it will work faster. Can you put both the feet like this, straight like that, and hands like this would be better. Yes, like this. It will work much faster. To raise this Kundalini, someone who can do it, the job. But the person who raises the Kundalini has to have some sort of authority. And authority doesn't come from the governments or from the churches or from the temples. It comes from God. And such a person has to be a different type of a person. Has to be the person who loves. Who only loves and doesn't know anything else beyond. A person who is interested in your purse or in your women, how can such a person raise the Kundalini? A person who leads a licentious life and a filthy life and a sickly person who suffers from all kinds of diseases, how can he raise the Kundalini? Because you'll be amazed when the Kundalini rises, your physical problems will disappear. Now, cancer can only be cured through Kundalini awakening. We have done it, not only here but also in India. Cancer cannot be cured by anything else but Kundalini rising. I have cured even our president of India, Sanjeeva Reddy, of his cancer. You may write to his secretary and find out. But what I did was nothing but to raise his Kundalini. Because Kundalini goes into the parasympathetic nervous system and she builds up that force which is all the time flowing to different centers. For example, we can say that we have two left and right sympathetic nervous system manifested by left and right powers of one is the left side is the power of desire and the right side is the power of creativity. For that we use our physical side also. Now these two powers start acting on the centers like this. If you start using on any center a particular extreme flow of the power, if you start exhausting it, it breaks. When it breaks, the connection with the whole is disconnected, is broken. Because of that, it becomes on its own, sort of goes on, like a person on the motorbike. What do I care? I can bang at anyone. Who can say anything to me? I'll bang at 10 people. What do I care? Once it starts, that means you are on your own. Once you are on your own, you are spinning the malignancy of the society. You have no connection with the whole. You think, what's wrong? So what? You do not know that by breaking your relationship with the whole, you are a malignant cell. And such people, have to be sent to jail or some place where they settle down and their malignancy is cured. In the same way in the body, malignancy sets in the being and the coordinated growth of the body becomes discoordinated. Like a person might get a big nose coming out because the nose says, why shouldn't I grow big compared to others? Or an ear becoming big like that. All this nonsense is nothing but simple cancer. And this kind of cancer is settling within us every moment. Because we do go to extremes. I have seen people, if they are fond of tennis, then morning till evening they are nothing but tennis racket. If they are fond of football, they become footballs. I mean, you don't know. They lose everything that is the whole and just become that. And they are such crazy ones that they don't know what they are doing. So, all these extreme behaviors of human beings can lead them to if not to the physical cancer, to the social cancer. or to the mental cancer. Cancer is nothing but the overactivity of the sympathetic nervous system on both the sides. Now, when the activity is too much within us and, and the whole cannot cope with it, it breaks the connection. When the connection is broken, then you become on your own. And how to now connect is the problem. Supposing you are going by car and the petrol is getting exhausted, a tension mounts. And when the petrol is finished, you are finished. You can't move. In the same way, when your energy gets exhausted or is about to exhaust, you get tensions, you get heart attacks, you get diabetes because of this kind of overactivity. For example, diabetes can be easily cured by Sahaja. If there is only one side activity of the right hand side, which is very much in the West, you get liver problems, you get diabetes, you get heart attack.